This is an excerpt from The 4-Hour Workweek by Timothy Ferris. When I came across Pareto's work one late evening, I had been slaving away with 15-hour days, 7 days per week, feeling completely overwhelmed and generally helpless. I would wake up before dawn to make calls to the United Kingdom, handle the United States during the normal 95 day, then work until near midnight making calls to Japan and New Zealand. I was stuck on a runaway freight train with no brakes, shoveling coal into the furnace for lack of a better option. Faced with a certain burnout or giving Pareto's ideas a trial run, I opted for the latter. The next morning, I began a dissection of my business and personal life through the lenses of two questions. 1. Which 20% of sources are causing 80% of my problems and unhappiness? 2. Which 20% of sources are resulting in 80% of my desired outcomes and happiness? For the entire day, I put aside everything seemingly urgent and did the most intense, truth-bearing analysis possible, applying these questions to everything from my friends to customers and advertising to, to relaxation activities. Don't expect to find you're doing everything right. The truth often hurts. The goal is to find your inefficiencies in order to eliminate them and to find your strengths so that you can multiply them. In the 24 hours that followed, I made several simple but emotionally difficult decisions that literally changed my life forever and enabled the lifestyle I now enjoy. The first decision I made is an example of how dramatic and fast the ROI, return on investment, of this analytical fast cutting can be. I stopped contacting 95% of my customers and fired 2%, leaving me with the top 3% of producers to profile and duplicate. Out of more than 120 wholesale customers, a mere 5 were bringing in 95% of the revenue. I was spending 98% of my time chasing the remainder, as the aforementioned 5 reported regularly without any follow-up calls, persuasion, or cajoling. In other words, I was working because I felt as though I should be doing something from 9 to 5. I didn't realize that working every hour from 9 to 5 isn't the goal. It's simply the structure most people use, whether it's necessary or not. I had a severe case of work for work, the most hated acronym in the New Rich vocabulary. All and I mean 100% of my problems and complaints come from this unproductive majority, with the exception of two large customers who are simply world-class experts of the here is the fire I started, now you put it out approach to business. I put all of these unproductive customers on passive mode. If they ordered, great, let them fax in the order. If not, I would do absolutely no chasing. No phone calls, no email, nothing. That left the two larger customers to deal with, who were professional ball breakers but contributed about 10% to the bottom line at the time. You'll always have a few of these, and it is a quandary that causes all kinds of problems, not the least of which are self-hatred and depression. Up to that point, I had taken their browbeating, insults, time-consuming arguments, and tirades at a cost of doing business. I realized that the 80-20 analysis, that during the 80-20 analysis, that these two people were the source of nearly all my unhappiness and anger throughout the day, and it usually spilled into my personal time, kept me up at night with the usual, I should have said X, Y, and Z to that penis. Self-flagellation. I finally concluded the obvious. The effect on my self-esteem and state of mind just wasn't worth the financial gain. I didn't need the money for any precise reason, and I had assumed I needed to take it. The customers are always right, aren't they? Part of doing business, right? Hell no. Not for the new rich, anyway. I fired their asses and enjoyed every second of it. The first conversation went like this. Customer. What the fuck? I ordered 2 cases and they arrived 2 days late. Note. He had sent the order to the wrong person via the wrong medium, despite repeated reminders. You guys are the most disorganized bunch of idiots I've ever worked with. I have 20 years of experience in this industry, and this is the worst. Any new rich, in this case me, I will kill you. Be afraid. Be very afraid. I wish. I did rehearse that a million times in my mental theater, but it actually went something more like this. I'm sorry to hear that. You know, I've been taking your insults for a while now, and it's unfortunate that it seems we won't be able to do business. We won't be able to do business anymore. I'd recommend you take a good look at where this unhappiness and anger is actually coming from. In any case, I wish you well. If you would like to order product, we'll be happy to supply it, but only if you can conduct yourself without profanity and unnecessary insults. You have our fax number. All the best and have a nice day. Click. I did this once via phone and once through email. So what happened? I lost one customer, but the other corrected course and simply faxed orders again and again and again. Problem solved. Minimum revenue loss. I was immediately 10 times happier. I then identified the common characteristics of my top 5 customers and secured 3 or so similarly profiled buyers in the following week. Remember, more customers is not automatically more income. More customers is not the goal and often translates into 90% more housekeeping and a paltry 1 to 3% increase in income. Make no mistake, maximum income from minimal and necessary effort, including minimum number of customers, is the primary goal. I duplicated my strengths, and in this case my top producers, and focused on increasing the size and frequency of their orders. The end result? I went from chasing and appeasing 120 customers to simply receiving large orders from 8, with absolutely no pleading phone calls or email haranguing. My monthly income increased from 30K to 60K in 4 weeks, and my weekly hours immediately dropped from over 80 to approximately 15. Most important, I was happy with myself, and I felt both optimistic and liberated for the first time in over 2 years. In the ensuing weeks, I applied the 80-20 principle to dozens of areas, including the following.